Outdoors, your #1 source for hunting,
adventure,
and excitement,
and instruction.
and our #1 source of
income. Cha-ching. When you think about hunters, you think about their struggles, everything they go through. When we get down to opening day, what's the last place they go to on right before opening day?
The night before opening day.
The night before opening day.
The bathroom.
No, Daryl. Most guys I talk to, of course not Little River Outdoors hunters, but most hunters out there, they make that one last mad dash to Walmart. Rush back to the sporting goods sections and almost get down on their knees and plead with the attendant, the cashier there, what could you sell me that'll get me the game?
And they've got stuff to say.
And they've got all kinds of stuff. They go through all the options, and in frustration, they quickly grab the latest call. You know, the one that's going to bring all the monster bucks in.
Snatch it right off the shelf.
They bring that one in. They just snatch it off. Paid $18 for a call that they go out the next morning, and does it do anything for them? Does it give them any results?
They get results.
They do get results, but it's
not the results they want.
Nope, not the ones.
So it's kind of a sad situation, and I know you're sitting there probably thinking that, you know, that's happened to me. And so what we want to try to do is try to help you to eliminate that frustration on the last day before deer season, so you can go into the woods with confidence, knowing that you've made the right choice. And so we've brought some calls here, and we're going to demonstrate some calls for you. We're actually going to introduce some new calls that the Little River staff has been working on, some innovative calls that we've been working on, and demonstrate those calls. And so this year, you can go into the woods with that confidence that you know that you're going to bag that big buck and call him right into where you are, and he's going to play your game. We know he's going to play your game.
We know it.
So we'd like to start off here by sharing with you some tips that Blake and I have learned using some of just the basic calls that probably many of you already have. So Blake's going to share with you a little trick that he's learned down through the years that's made him very, very successful, especially on button bucks.
One of my early struggles in my hunting career was simply this. I would call and it didn't seem like any game could hear. You know, I'd blow my call, something like that, and it seems like it would go 10 feet and drop to the ground. So what I've tried to develop over the last few years is a system to be able to project the call so that the game that's out there, and I'm talking way on out there, will be able to hear me. And it goes something like this. What I'm using is your basic simple hand, basic simple call, meshing them together in one unit, and you'll get something to come in. Man, I'm telling you, what a hunt. Can you see that rack right there? Those two little knobs right there, I'm telling you, that's a buck.
Man, that must be
a whitetail buck.
What is that? That's a 3-inch spread. At least a 3-inch spread.
Now I know Daryl. He's a good hunter. He's about to show you a tip that has transformed his hunting experience. It's simply this. If you're going to call game, you got to get in the game's mind.
Now, one of the difficulties that I first experienced when I first started learning to call animals, specifically deer, was just do it's the same trap that a lot of you fall into, is putting no emotion in your call. You just go out in the woods and you sit in your stand and you go, and you don't see no deer, right? Well, part of the problem is, and this is something that I learned just recently, is to begin to put some emotion and some passion and some feeling into your call. So it's a little more to this than just going out in the woods and tooting on your call and expecting something to come running in. So you're going to have to really get involved with your call, emotionally involved with your call, and think about that animal that you're calling. So I'm going to demonstrate for you here just a little bit of how to be passionate in your calling. It's going to make you a more successful hunter. Folks, you've got to become one with the call.
Now we've just thrown a pile of information your way.
Useful information.
Tips, tools, knowledge. And you're sitting there thinking, yeah, right. You got to be kidding me. You can do that in the studio, but show me the real results.
Well, Blake, the average hunter likes to see action. They want to see the results right in front of them and see this actually work out in the field. So our staff here at Little River has put together some really nice, intense video clips.
Good footage.
Some good footage of some big game hunts that we participated in, where we was able to demonstrate some of these creative, innovative techniques. Techniques that sometimes we create in the field depending upon the circumstances that are in the field, the environment in the field. And that's one thing about Little River, is we're willing to get outside the circumstance
we'll go outside.
if we need to.
Yeah, we'll create our own circumstance.
Create a circumstance within a circumstance
to meet our circumstances.
to meet the circumstances that whatever happens. And so
basically you're saying we're not limited to our circumstances.
right, and so that's and actually you, the hunter, will benefit from that. So let's take a look at some of this footage in the field, fair chase footage of some of these techniques that Little River is perfecting even today.
It's Little River Outdoors on location at the Blackberry Tree Farm. Side of an earlier Little River video known as trophy tree hunting. But today we're after trophy bucks. One thing we want to talk to you about while we're here in the stand is deer calling. Now you hear a lot about deer calling. The shells are stocked with the deer call that works. But Little River, we're not into gadgets. We're into practical calls that will work for you. So as you see, I don't bring a lot of calls to the stand with me, but I just want to show you some of the calls that we like to use. These are calls that you'll find on the shelf everywhere, but I'm going to show you some innovative ways that we've learned to use these calls. This here is known as a can call. Now I'm sure you've seen that, and I'm sure anybody can use this, and I like to use the can call pretty much anytime I can, because you can call a deer in with this can call. And so don't go in the woods without your can. What I like to do is I like to keep this can in my back pocket so I can kind of keep my can behind me. So I'm going to show you a little bit about how this can works. Now, there are several different calls you can do with this can call. It's what I call the lonely call. Now, you've probably heard that before. And that's a doe saying, in plain language, I'm lonely, come and see me. Now, not all does use that call, so you've got to be willing to experiment with these calls. So, this is another call that's been really effective for us here at Little River. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I ain't never heard that before, and you probably ain't, because we're probably the only ones that use that call. And that is a call from an impatient doe saying, hurry up, Buster, and get over here. Hurry up on the way. So, just be willing to try it. Now, this is another call that probably you've seen on the shelf. You can pick this up at Walmart for 15 bucks. And most people would call this a grunt call. But there's a lot of different things you can do with this grunt call besides the grunt. And you can do the grunt with it. But what we're after is we're trying to emulate a doe. And so that's what we're going to try to do right now. We'll show you some different things you can do on this grunt tube. That's a young buck. It's real important that you put your fingers in that spot here. Let me look and make sure you don't see anything here. You have to really be careful when you do this call, I'm telling you. They'll run smack over you. Now that call there is what we call the barnyard call. I know it sounds a little bit like a calf, but that puts deer at ease, because deer are around cattle a lot. And so when a deer hears that, he just knows that's a deer that's probably a deer that's been around cattle, and it just puts him right at ease. He'll come right on in. Now, sometimes you have to be willing, again, like I said, you've got to be willing to experiment. That's how we've uncovered a lot of these different types of calls and the effectiveness of these calls, is just by trying things. You know, when we're bored in the stand and we ain't seen anything. So I'm gonna try a couple of things out here. And that's the deer's hung up on a barbed wire fence. Now a buck will come right into that because he knows the doe ain't gonna go nowhere. So that's a really effective call, but you need to do it in areas that have barbed wire fences because the deer won't recognize it otherwise. Okay, now these are a couple of calls that I just came up with today. So these are fresh ideas, and that's one thing about Little River is we don't get stuck in a corner with cobwebs. We're all constantly coming up with new and innovative ideas to make you a better hunter. So again, using this grunt tube, and I know you just thought that that's all you could do was grunt, but as I've already showed you, there's several things you can do with this. But this is a call. Again, these are a couple of calls I hadn't even named yet. But we feel really good about them, or I feel really good about them. Now, what that's supposed to be is that's a deer that has an acorn caught in his throat. And I got that idea one day. I was sitting in the stand, I got choked on a peanut. And I got to thinking about that, and so it's kind of like a distress call. Because if another deer hears that in the woods, they'll come rushing right over it. So it's kind of a distress call, but I think that's going to be a really good one for us. Now sometimes, and we've all done this, you go off during a hurry to go hunting and you forget your calls, and you get in your stand and you go, I don't have a single call with me. You've spent all that money and they're all back in the truck. So what you've got to be able to do is you've got to be able to create calls with the materials you have with you, which means sometimes just your bare hands. So this is a couple calls. Now we don't have these calls on the market yet, but we're just experimenting with them. So I'm just going to demonstrate for you a couple little calls that I just came up with on my own. I didn't watch a video to get these. These are things I just came up on my own when I was in the stand without any of the marketable calls that are on the shelf. That's a pretty effective call. What that is, that's what I call the rain drip call. And what I know you say, well, it don't sound like a deer. A deer makes it don't, but it sounds like rain dripping in the woods. And there's nothing that puts a deer at ease more than rain dripping in the woods because he feels like he can sneak around. Nothing's going to hear him. So just that kind of that pitter patter sound, like I was doing right there. And another call that I just came up with that you could use. Just using your hands. One of those occasions where you forgot your calls. I don't have a name for this call yet either. I've never heard that sound in the woods from a deer, but sometimes you just gotta still go out on a limb, and try to emulate sounds that you've heard in the woods. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it don't, but I think that's gonna be a good one too.
One of the things that separates Little River Outdoors from the average everyday hunting outfitter is our ability to be able to call to different types of animals other than your basic deer and turkeys, which most of your average outfitters specialize in. But Little River Outdoors has developed an efficient calling method for all types of animals, big and small game. And I'm talking from game such as moles, groundhogs, bald eagles, chipmunks, and even exceptionally large game like an Alaskan bull moose. We've got some really good footage that I'm going to show you how I called in on this hunt in a great state of Alaska when I took this exceptionally large Alaskan bull moose and called him right to the boat.
Howdy folks, this is Little River Outdoors. Moose hunting here somewhere in Alaska. Not real sure where we're at. The batteries on our GPS died about 2.5 hours ago. And the sun's behind the clouds, so we're going to wait till it gets dark there and hopefully be able to pick out the North Star and we'll find our way back. But But we want to talk to you a little bit about moose calling. Little River's noted authority on deer calling, but imagine our surprise to find out we got out here in Alaska. We're also authority on moose calling. So we're going to try a couple things here. I want to show you a couple things that's made me a very successful moose hunter. What you got to be able to do, Little River's good at this, is you got to be unconventional when it comes to calling all types of big game animals. Moose, groundhogs, pretty much anything. So I'm going to give you a little sexy cow call here. It won't take 2 hands to do this. You got to have that nasal sound. Hey, hey. Now you got to do that little on the end right there, and that tires them up. I ain't kidding you, to bring them right on in there. Now I'm going to do I know you've seen people have these bull magnets, they carry these big old bulky calls into the stand with them. That's a bunch of nonsense. We're going to show you here, Little River, how you can call in a big bull, just bringing in the stuff that you got with you. See, it just gives a kind of a muffled sound like that, so stick with us, folks. We're going to get a big moose on this, and we're going to show you here at the end of this video how moose calling really works. I'm not much one to call on camera like that because I just want to get down and do some serious cow calling. Wait, is that a bull right there? Look right there. Look. I believe that is a bull, boys. Look. Get somewhere closer.
You'll get something to come in.
You're going to call in something.